I forgot. I thought it was northern and southern hemisphere, or then it was. Oh, or it might be
No, they don't call them.
eastern.
I don't. They're not called hurricanes if they're not from the
It.
Atlantic.
Yeah. Yeah. That
They
sounds
can
right.
still hit the southern hemisphere.
So then, what do you
Like they've
call?
hit South America before.
Well, yeah. I mean, fuck. Look at. Yeah. Don't live there. Like, there is so many
What,
reasons
the
not to live
entirety
there.
of South America?
Yeah. There's no. There's so many reasons not to
I
live
want to
anywhere
point
on the
out that
east
this
coast
guy's
of
just
Central
like,
America, and hurricanes is
don't
on one of those
immigrate to
lists.
the U.S.
Like,
I
hey,
hate immigrants. However, don't live where you
hey,
live.
folks, why are you living in Florida? Why do people live there?
Because it's Florida.
You say that, but that doesn't really spark like you're right.
Saltwater fishing.
Saltwater fishing. Yeah, like I don't know, like go to an adjacent state.
Hey, have you ever like been in the winter and you realize that like the Lakewood Town Center sign just gets fucking bowled over by someone who doesn't know how to drive in the ice? You know when
Yeah,
that doesn't
and
happen?
they redo it every year. It's like a new art project.
Oh, yeah.
And this year's installment is brought to you by the gas station at the corner. It's free advertising. No, I don't understand why people live there at Florida. It's literally it's like wiped clean every fucking year by hurricanes.
Oh, my God.
And the climate
That's not
cucks.
true.
The
Hurricanes
climate
aren't as bad as
cucks.
you think.
The climate cucks. They're like the hurricanes are getting worse every year.
But
I'm like, according to what?
hurricanes are really not a big deal unless you live like on the coast.
Or you're there.
Like if you can see the beach from your house, hurricane might be an
Probably
issue.
a bad
But
idea.
if you can't see the beach, you're fine. Like you might lose power.
I think that
but
math
you're gonna be
works
okay.
out though. Like you're
I
on
lived in Florida for a long time.
on the
It was
peninsula.
okay.
On the peninsula where you're surrounded by water on three sides.
What do you mean?
You go southeast, water.
It takes
You go east, water. You go southwest and west, water.
Yeah,
That's
but,
what
like,
I mean.
just
That's
but
not
unless
good.
You're literally like 50 feet from the beach, like wherever the storm surge ends.
Okay,
at,
honestly, if you're ever caught at
That's
a
the
beach,
danger.
if you're ever caught at a beach and there's a fucking hurricane, that is your fault.
Yeah, you're right. But for the most part, hurricanes are really not that bad. Like I said, you might lose power.
Yeah,
for a couple
200 mile
days.
per hour winds, sending a fucking 2x4 through your wall, not bad.
No.
Oh, cool! I need a new shelf.
How much does it cost to like
Look,
fucking
even if the
repair
hurricane
the whole
has 200
city?
mile per
Well,
hour
I mean,
winds, it's not-
I think you can look
it's
up
not doing
exactly
that at
how.
ground level.
I think you can actually look up how much damage hurricanes do each year at a monetary
that
value.
doesn't bother me if I just like have a house. That bothers the fucking insurance company and the government.
Sure. Where are you going to live while your house is being rebuilt? In a
Look,
shed.
If you're in Florida, you may as well just like
I'm going to call.
embrace the Florida man.
I'm going to call that pods company. You know those people who come with a trailer with like a little shitty shipping container?
The
Yeah.
thing is,
I'm living there.
most
Drop it off
hurricanes
at
are
my
not
yard.
strong
Did
enough
that-
to
a
fuck
U-Haul?
up your house.
A U-Haul trailer.
Only like
So what do we got?
Oh, okay.
And
So
then
it says
look
here.
look at some of the deadliest hurricanes in history. So the one Katrina that hit New Orleans, the issue wasn't the wind because hurricanes actually don't have very strong wind.
It's
It's
the water.
strong, it'll cause damage, but it's not strong enough to like a fucking
Yeah,
EF
no, yeah,
whatever.
the tornadoes are
tornado.
much worse with sending 2x4s through walls.
Okay,
They
so
are.
it's
They're
not giving me
100%
Florida,
much worse.
but it says here the number of weather and climate disasters in the U.S. in the past 3 years, with losses exceeding $1 billion in repairs.
Well, no, that
Issue
just
with
affects
hurricanes is
the.
flooding,
Yeah.
and that's what
That just
that's what
affects
really
the.
fucked up
Well,
New
you heard it from
Orleans.
Walker, though, you know,
Yeah.
because when your house is being rebuilt, you can just levitate and live in the clouds.
Your house isn't going to be rebuilt because it's not going to be destroyed unless you have some fucking freak act like
It's
a
not.
1 in
You
100
need to
year
replace.
hurricane.
You need to replace shit after it's fucking flooded. What do you
well, flooding's bad.
like? Drywall needs to be replaced. That's not good.
Look, you're probably not going to flood as long as you don't live on the beach.
What a stupid point! Like Florida and the peninsula is basically all beach.
It's not all beach.
There's
You're
no
like at
good
least-
things.
You could be 60 miles from the beach.
Oh, 60 miles. Yeah, flooding can't
That's a
extend
huge
that far.
difference. You could be in an elevation.
I need a
of 300
map. I need a
feet.
fucking flood map now of Florida every time there's a hurricane and watch the whole fucking thing be
And
blue.
the other thing is, a lot of people build their houses on stilts, so you're not going to flood unless like the whole state's underwater.
Yeah, carry groceries up that, you dick.
Yeah, it's not that hard. You have legs.
I have to go up 2 flights of stairs. Why? Water
It's
come
like
high.
living in
Water
an
come
apartment
high.
building.
Water come high. Oh, okay. Water
Now,
comes
I've had my yard flooded before from a tropical storm Faye, if I remember, when I lived in Brooker, Florida. But basically, as long as you don't live in an area where flooding is like a major concern, like if you're not in a floodplain, which there aren't that many in north central Florida, from what I remember, if there are any, like you're basically fine, even though it's like, oh, I might be 30 minutes from the beach. 30 minutes from the beach is enough that you're not really gonna have to worry about that much flooding.
In more pressing news, hundreds of pounds of pasta were mysteriously dumped into New Jersey woods.
Fucking pasta party.
Pasta party.
Hundreds of pounds of pasta.
Fucking
were just dumped.
Boston pasta party.
Pastafarian
The first
cult.
line of this news article from CBS, it says the unsettling imagery.
Of
I do know
pasta?
that Boston is not in New Jersey. We'll call it, what is it?
Oh
Hoboken?
shit! Oh my god!
Hoboken. It's New Jersey.
What is it?
This is hundreds of pounds of pasta just strewn about like an evil fucking
Dude, I'm telling you, if there's any
turd.
bears out there, they're loving life.
Dude, they're so happy. Dude, what the fuck?
The fucking Pastafarians.
So
Fucking
Nina
pasta cult.
yeah, the pasta cult.
Nina Djokovic, who ran for city council in the town of about 66,000, posted images of piles of pasta in a Facebook group, thanking the public works department for cleaning up the estimated 500-pound mess. Why?
So, like, imagine
Like,
that you're
why?
a pasta company.
It was like a
And
catering.
it all goes past the use by or sell by date. You got to get rid of it. But then, like, everybody want to go dump half a ton of pasta or a quarter ton of pasta once you have paid them to dump it, when you could just dump it in the woods.
Yeah,
That's
why?
free.
What's the problem?
The government doesn't want you to know this.
it's literally
The woods are your
biodegradable.
personal trash can.
It's literally biodegradable.
Yeah.
I don't know what the
They're
problem is
feeding
here.
the insect.
Like,
the
you
insect life is going to explode there.
Like, what's the difference between me dumping this in the woods and me dumping it into my compost pile? Not a thing. It's just a difference of place.
Yeah.
It's what a weird thing. Love that. That's super cool. Oh my god, it literally just was like a fucking dead body. Oh my god, it was the flying spaghetti monster. They finally got his ass. Oh my god, he's dead.
Basically just
It just took a shit in the woods and it's just
some weird
pasta.
cult. That's what it has to be.
This-
it's not
this-
anything practical about how much it costs to dump pasta somewhere. It's just a pasta cult.
Yeah, it's just a pasta cult.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
So a bison gores a woman in Yellowstone, tosses her 10 feet into the air.
Wow. A woman fucking bothering
She was-
wildlife?
She was probably busy yelling at it, and that's why it didn't move.
Yeah.
Yeah, imagine seeing a 1-ton piece of beef
I
and
want
being like, I could fuck with that.
I'm gonna yell at it.
There could
No,
be no consequences for
I
me
think
touching that.
I think it was just more.
I wanna-
Honestly, I blame Disney.
I blame Disney.
I think
The amount of people who think that wild animals,
See,
you just walk up
this
and
is-
touch them, is
they-
insane.
they always say flight or fight. They never acknowledge the last option, which seems to be more prevalent. Fright, where you just stand there and
Please.
do nothing.
Well, see, you're actually supposed to be a predator, and as a predator, you're not supposed to have the deer in the headlights response. You're supposed to either kill things or run away from being
Every
killed.
YouTube compilation I've seen says otherwise. I think we're
Those are
losing our
called
touch.
Genetic failures. And if we lived in like the fucking savannah in Africa and we had to chase our food down and like fight lions and hyenas for fucking gazelles, they would die. But because they live in suburban America and they can literally think the earth is flat and still survive somehow.
This is a bad thing. We failed. Charles Darwin was right. We need to bring this shit back. Sorry, if you think the earth is flat.
You know Charles Darwin fucked his cousin and then found out it was a bad thing
How about that?
Ooh.
after he had kids with him?
Ooh.
And he was like, hang on, these things look weird.
Hang on, my kids keep dying. I wonder why that is.
why-
And then he finds out that inbreeding is bad after the fact. He felt so horrible.
What
Back
the
then it was
fuck,
normal.
dude?
You just marry your cousin.
What the fuck, dude? I can't fuck my cousin?
Dude.
Yeah, you shouldn't do that. Oh man. Oh,
He felt
fuck.
guilty
Thank
for the
God
rest of
I'm
his life because he
I'm
knew
so
that
glad
the
I'll be
problems-
I'm so glad I'll be famous for this for a while.
He knew for finding out that fucking your cousins is bad.
Yeah, they don't tell that in school. They're just like, yeah, no. He discovered Punnett squares.
After like 25% of his kids died, he was like, "Holy
And he's
shit!"
like, no, he didn't. Wasn't that Punnett? Yeah. He Charles Darwin was like, no, genetics and breeding, and you have to make sure that they're not your cousin or any relation. Powerful.
It's illegal now.
Okay,
It is honestly a tragedy that he didn't know and then was the person to find out, and that's why he was
I mean,
like, "Oh
in
shit, that's why my
science-
kids are dying."
In science, there are always martyrs. In this case, it was all of his fucked up children. They died for science.
You ever hear of that?
They
The
should.
guy who there was a Habsburg, and for those of you who don't know, the Habsburgs were a noble family that was very prolific at marrying into other noble families and breeding. I believe they hail from Austria initially, but basically one of them ended up being the king of Spain. But because they were marrying into so many noble families and they got a higher status, so they could not like marrying peasants, they ran out of people to breed with, so they started breeding with each other. And then the king of Spain was so inbred that he had like one testicle. It was black. They don't even like really understand how he was living. He was just so fucked up, and then he couldn't have kids, and he died, which started
he
like
had-
a whole Europe-wide war for the succession of who would be the king of Spain.
He had to have had a nickname. I just Black Nut in Spanish must be
It's
so
like
poetic.
Charles, I think.
Yeah, I
I'm
think
just gonna be the really inbred king of Spain.
he was. Yeah, Carl. I think King Charles was the most ugliest king.
Carlos, but basically Charles. Carlos the second.
Carlos.
He said Charles.
Black Nut.
I think England had the same problem. Look at the entire royal family. Oh, that's hilarious.
that'd be like Bola
Our
Negro
family's
or
not even
something.
English,
That's kind of
they're
funny.
German.
Even in that era, they were just like, "How is this guy alive?" Like,
You know that they're actually not an English family.
yeah, they're
They're
all
German.
They're literally not from the country.
No.
It's magical.
I believe King George the First, not the infamous King George the Third, like didn't basically even speak English properly. Like he had a super thick accent. Is what he's known as having.
That is my favorite thing ever now. Yeah, King Charles.
Yeah.
Big
I
accent.
just imagine
Yeah.
Arnold Schwarzenegger just
Ooh,
as the king of
I was
England,
wondering what you
and
were
that's
doing.
how it was.
I gotta stir it. She handed me something bluish.
Yeah. Anyway, the Habsburgs' rule of Spain ended because the last one in the line was so inbred that he couldn't have kids
That's
and then
pretty
died too
nice.
early.
She's
And
making
that's why the
one.
Netherlands is a country.
So I'm not sure
That's
if
why the Dutch exist.
I'm not sure if you heard this. I'm not sure if you listen to the show, Walker. I doubt you do. On the last
Sometimes I do, but
on
not
the,
really.
on the last
Yeah.
episode, we covered something, and I'm going to play it again. And you need to hear this.
Provide unique light and energy so that you have the energy of the moon at night.
I already hate
And
it.
sometimes you've heard the word full moon. Sometimes you need to take the opportunity just to come out and see a full moon is that complete rounded circle, which is made up mostly of gases. And that's why the question is why or how could we as humans
Pause it real quick.
live on the moon? The gas
Yeah.
Do you know how much binoculars cost? Like 10x binoculars, enough that you can like look at the termination line on the moon.
Like $60.
Yeah.
two tenors. Like they're pretty cheap now.
They're so cheap. Something with like a binocular with 10x zoom would be the envy of astronomers of times past, and you have it like literally. You can deliver it. It can be delivered to your doorstep.
You can zoom
Free
in on your
shipping.
phone camera.
And then
Who
literally,
doesn't have Amazon Prime these days? Free shipping to your door. Look at the moon, and you can see the craters. You can see.
and you're just
stars
like,
the same. There's the other thing. They
maybe
say it's
that's
made
not
of
gas.
gases. Even if you were to just go outside and look at the moon every single day, you would see that, all of those craters, they look the same as they did yesterday. maybe slightly different angle because it's tidally locked, but it's not like perfect to your angle of viewing, so you'll see it from slightly different angles. But basically, you'll see the same craters every time. I know
We
gas
landed on
isn't-
that. Wow, the
You don't
buoyancy
believe
must be
that, right?
crazy.
So ignoring the fact that you believe it, just looking at the moon and seeing that the craters are the same fucking shape every single day,
Thank you so much.
It's
which
It's
famously
baffling.
gases
good.
don't hold the same shape. How can you even?
that was a elected official, by the way. That was
who?
that was Democrat Representative Sheila Jackson Lee.
Of course,
I
Democrat.
guess they have to have their own Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Yeah, it was very, 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 very powerful. I was I couldn't even speak.
audio. Play the rest of the audio. I haven't heard it.
Provide unique
Okay, let's
light
get there.
and energy. A full moon is that complete rounded circle, which is made up mostly of gases. And that's why the question is why or how could we as humans live on the moon? Are the gases such that we could do that? The sun is a mighty powerful heat that is almost impossible to go near the sun. The moon is more manageable, and you will see in a moment.
Actually,
not a
100%
moment, you'll
correct.
see in a
Everything
couple
from the
of years
sun is a mighty
that
heat and
NASA
onwards has
is
been
going
correct.
back to the moon.
The Parker space probe gets within 4 million miles. It's possible.
Same with it.
It
4
is
million
hot.
miles.
It is hot. But
It's really hard to get near the sun. That's correct.
yeah, that's
If you
good.
Consider 4 million
Very,
miles
very-
close, and it is close to the sun.
Very good,
That is
Sheila.
the closest we've ever gotten, and that's like the pinnacle of human
Yeah,
technology
it's literally
at
great.
the moment.
Very good job, Sheila. You did on that little quiz there. You got 1 out of 5 other things that you said. 2 things because everything after the sun was
She was
correct.
never looked at the moon before. This gets like you can. It's getting into a lot. I have to order my thoughts real quick.
I have to order.
It's very difficult.
Yeah.
My father-in-law believes in the flat Earth.
Why?
He
I
doesn't
don't
look
know.
outside at the stars.
He doesn't
All you
look
have to
outside.
do, you don't even have to have a telescope. If you just go and spend 3 hours every night looking at the stars, you'll start to notice things. Notice things that don't make sense if the Earth was flat, unless you just have a complete abandonment of all logic.
Huh.
All this person had to do was go and look at the moon a couple times in their life, and study the shape of it, and realize that the craters stay the
Ooh,
same.
If you look
And
back,
if it's made out of gas, that wouldn't happen.
so if you guys find some TikTok shenanigans that you guys want us to listen to, go ahead and send it to the Whole Mag's profile.
I hate TikTok.
So go to the Whole Magazine. Go ahead and send your ridiculousness there.
Speaking of TikTok,
They should ban it.
yeah,
I think
I just came across this article.
They have to sell it to an American company, or it will be banned.
Yes.
This is what it
I'm
says.
not entirely
TikTok.
certain on that because I don't read a lot of news about TikTok.
No, I actually just came across this on my feed right now. TikTok vows to fight its ban. Here's how the battle may play out. TikTok's
Yeah,
fate
it's like
hangs in the balance. On Wednesday,
you
April
can
24,
just fight
President
the
Biden signed a
government.
bill into law that demands that the app's Chinese parent company, ByteDance, either sell TikTok or face a nationwide ban.
I wonder how they're going to fight that.
Yeah.
They're probably going to do some bullshit constitution argument thing. You're a
Well,
company.
see, the thing is,
You don't have
the
any constitutional
Chinese
rights.
don't have constitutional rights.
Well, not even that. A company doesn't have constitutional rights. So
That's true.
they're
A company doesn't
they're
have
not gonna
constitutional rights.
there's no fruit on this tree. They're gonna be kind of in a rough
All
spot.
right, it continues. But the bill's legislative success does not mean that TikTok is going away anytime soon. ByteDance now has at least 9 months to sell the app. The new law will face legal challenges, antitrust hurdles, and public backlash. And then this is
I
coming
think
from the
the thing that
CEO.
really-
Make no mistake, this is a ban on you and your
oh
voice.
my God, be quiet.
Show
please.
Chu, TikTok CEO, post on TikTok on Wednesday. Rest assured, we aren't going anywhere. The facts and the Constitution are on our
Nope,
side.
there it is. No,
Yeah.
it's not, sir. The
Right.
Constitution's not on your side. You're a company.
That's right there.
So
Right
the thing that I think backfired for TikTok was they started putting like propaganda messages in the app to like contact your congressman. So a bunch of like 15 to 17-year-olds like flooded their local
Yep.
congressman with messages, and they're like, "Oh shit,
Wow.
this is literally Chinese propaganda."
Looks like
And
social
so
media
now they're
has a lot
freaking
of
out.
power here. Maybe we should put a bigger control on this thing. Way to prove
So China
Republicans'
wouldn't
point.
let us have an app that's similar affect China this way. We should not allow an adversarial power
Yeah.
to just be able to, because like there's no such thing as a private company in China, as much as they try to tell you that there is.
Yeah, no, there's just not. Everything,
It
especially
is,
with technology, every technology company is partly run or partly owned or entirely owned by through proxies the Chinese government.
Kind of
Okay, this is
unironically
interesting here.
fascism in the exact
okay.
definition of what fascism is and how it was envisioned by the inventors of fascism in Italy. China is a fascist state.
Yeah.
And what that means is that the government owns the means of production. It's also known to people who are familiar with Marxist theories on, if you've read Das Kapital, as state capitalism, but that's basically, from a nationalist perspective, they are national socialists. They are Nazis in that sense, if you were to translate it to German. It is a fascist country and a fascist state.
All right, now check this
means
out.
that they
Continuing on the
own
article.
all of the means of, or they own most of the means of production anyway.
God
They're
damn it.
practicing state capitalism.
Yeah.
There are
All
no
right.
private companies.
All right, so it continues how the anti-TikTok bill
Yeah, we don't
gained
need to.
gained
need to
momentum for many
continue
months.
here.
Members of the House of
Yeah,
Representatives
goddamn it.
and especially conservatives have stumped against TikTok spread in the U.S., arguing that it is a tool for Chinese propaganda and surveillance of the 170 million Americans that use it. Their complaints intensified in the midst of the Israeli-Hamas war, when politically charged content about the war flooded the app.
Politically charged, yeah.
Yeah.
You mean entirely Hamas propaganda?
Yeah.
Yeah, hilarious. Yeah, here's the thing though, is it's funny that they're gonna try and fight this, and I'm really gonna see how it goes. Hopefully Republicans can kind of, I don't know, grab their boys, grab the testicles, give a good cough, and like, I don't know, actually fucking do something for once in their fucking lives instead of backing down.
This is it's imagine if in like the Cold War, like the year is 1970, and like America's youth is just reading Russian newspapers.
Exactly.
That's how
It's
bad
effective.
This is.
It's effectively the same thing. It's fucking mind-boggling. In another on TikTok thing, listen to this shenanigans. Jasmine Sherman for president. I'm not sure if you've heard of her.
No.
I haven't,
Nope.
but
Nope.
listen to what she has to
I
say.
hope that nobody
You
votes
need
for her.
Huh?
I hope nobody looks for her. Is what he
Yeah.
said. Yeah.
I hope nobody votes
Basic
for
income. We can afford to pay $95 billion anytime other countries need it. We have the funds to treat Americans right. Our elected officials currently make the choice not to treat you well. We have to
Well,
end
I
our
didn't
abusive
know anything
relationship with the
before this
government.
audio
Any
started.
politician that can't tell you what they're going to do for you tomorrow is a politician that is wasting your time. That's it. You need universal basic income.
Okay, that's the point that I want to talk about, and we'll probably end the show in a second here after this
Yeah,
point.
it's getting pretty late here.
Yeah.
So you don't need universal basic income. That is the stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard. Everyone wants the idea. Everyone likes the idea of free money because, of course, who doesn't? But it's not free. And it's not even so much this. Universal basic income is like this dystopian future thing. You see it in The Expanse. Because there's just the population is so great that there's literally just not enough jobs for everyone to have one. So they have to do something with universal
There's
basic
an
income.
argument for it in the event that automation becomes, because regardless of how many like regulatory bodies there are, what's eventually going to happen is certain societies at least are going to realize that automation is the best way of doing things. And then when you do that and there's no jobs for people, like imagine self-driving trucks, right? Self-driving trucks, if that becomes a thing in the United States, people who are not educated past the high school level, that is like one of the biggest jobs for men with a high school education is driving trucks. And if you take that away, that's millions of men who aren't smart enough, or well, let's say not smart enough, but they didn't go to college, right? And now they have no options in their chosen career path. So that's an example of where you might look at, well, automation is taking jobs away.
Well,
Like we might have to, like if you don't want a revolution, you might have to give someone a universal basic income.
that
And
is
then
a
also looking at
specific
it from the
example.
perspective,
If you look at just the trucker thing, for example, that largely is just down to legislation. But for things like if we look at factory workers and we saw production lines changing from, normal factory workers to robotic arms doing things, that's
think about how
the
much
big
cheaper it
difference
is when
because
you
that's
don't
easier.
have to pay the driver several $1,000s to drive cross country, and you only have to pay fuel and maintenance costs.
Well, sure, but that is going to be very much
So
going to
that's
be a
going to-
legislative thing where the government can easily decide, it's like, yeah, the computer can largely drive this vehicle while the actual driver sleeps, but the driver still needs to be present in the vehicle for it to be self-driving.
Sure, you can call it legislative, but the thing is that you can't guarantee that the government is going to make that, but you can't guarantee that self-driving trucks are going to be the most economically viable option.
Sure.
Because you don't have to pay the driver. So the issue then becomes either there is protection against automation or there is solving for the problems that automation causes.
I still don't even think that's a problem because guess what another job is, a go-to job is for people with a high school education? Join the military.
Sure.
Like there's the idea that, and you have to zoom out to the grand scheme of the economy.
In the military, then that's basically universal basic income.
You have to zoom out to the grand scheme of the economy. That's one job of millions that just require a high school diploma.
Also, if you're looking at this from a dystopian view, like let's say you are the dystopian government, you want a universal basic income because revolutions happen when people can't afford food or basic necessities. And if you eliminate material poverty, then you eliminate most people's motivation for changing the system.
And
because if I want to get rid of the system, what that means is now I have to go into the coal mines and work. I'm going to be less motivated to go change the system because I would rather not me specifically, but I would rather sit on my ass, collect free money from the government than go work in the coal mines.
Let's also,
so I can't necessarily say that universal basic income is a good thing, but I think it's end up being necessary.
It's a terrible thing, and it's an absolutely terrible thing. The current problem is
I think that automation is going to happen, and I think that what you're going to then have happen is either revolution or the elimination.
That's all speculation.
Poverty.
That's all speculation, and the important thing is what's going on now, and we are nowhere near those points. We are nowhere near needing to give people universal basic incomes.
That's fine.
The problem is,
I will agree that we don't need to do that now.
I agree with your speculation, though. Like, I'm not disagreeing with you. Like, it's good speculation. It does make sense. But this person is arguing why you should vote for her is because you need that now. It's like, no, what you need to do, you get off your fucking ass and you need to go work in the economy. There is no job shortages. There is plenty of jobs open.
Now.
Huh?
What might happen right now if we had universal basic income, it's kind of like if you give everyone $1 million, you now have to pay someone way more to do goods and services because they already have $1 million.
Yeah, it would be
like, I'm not going to go to work the next day after getting the COVID stimulus.
You're absolutely right.
I'm making $725.
If we have a bunch of people exiting the workforce, the labor market, labor costs are going to increase, goods and services will increase to compensate. And thus, those people who are on universal basic income are probably just going to be worse off, even though they have this magical universal basic income. And another important thing, though, is that we have to look at what the economy is right now, what the government spending is. She makes a great point that the United States government can take $98 billion and just throw it across the pond. However, this is another important thing. The most expenditure that the United States has right now is Social Security. It is one of the top 3. Social Security even outweighs military costs, if I'm remembering correctly. It is outweighing military costs because everyone wants to mention, the United States spends so much money on military. It's like, no. We spend more money on Social Security. And hey, I think Social Security is the biggest scam ever. It is a Ponzi scheme. It is the stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard. The problem we're having right now, and this is how it works. Basically, you enter the workforce after high school, right? You start, paying Social Security tax, right? You are funding current people who are on Social Security. Okay, that's how this works.
Yeah, it's
So
not
we
a
need to-
savings account.
We need to have a threshold, right? There's a threshold. There's an ideal mix. There needs to be more young people in the job market producing that tax revenue in order to supply the Social Security to the people who are still alive, right? We don't have that right now. We have been on a steady decline of birthing rates for the past decade, which is now causing the problem where we're in now. We had liberals telling women that they don't need to have babies. No, guys, don't get married. Go ahead and just be some douchebag that goes around fucking random things and don't have a family.
I think
This
that
is the
takes
problem.
agency away from people. There is an issue though where people are not having kids. But
You're
I don't
Christian.
know.
You're Christian. Would you not agree that one of your primary fucking votives is to raise and foster
Yeah,
children?
fruitful and multiply. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
that is in the Bible. What I'm saying though is that people are choosing for reasons not to have kids, or they're
Right.
choosing to.
And the problem,
have
and it is
abortions instead.
all of it is likely due to people, Democrats, liberals, saying, no, deny your nature. Don't have kids. You'll be so much more happier. Then these guys are 40 years old. The fucking well has dried up. They're barren, and now they can't have kids. And they're sad, and they regret it because they were sold this lie that you doing all these extra things, being in the workforce, is going to make you so much happier. But in reality, it's not. And we're seeing this all the time with statistics and pollings. Women are miserable if they fall into this ideations. What's interesting is that we have this. So this person wants to not only do Social Security, but I'm imagining do universal basic income. It agrees in this, in the future sense of job scarcity. We do not have a job scarcity. In fact, we need people to get off their fucking asses and work, right? Remember what COVID did. COVID got a bunch of people laid off. Companies are holding on to this sort of low sort of staff count sort of concept, right? Nobody's working. People are hiring. People aren't just looking. Like everywhere is hiring. We have online tools now where you can look for jobs anywhere.
They say that they're hiring, but a lot of places say they're hiring, but they want to underpay you.
Why
is
waste
a
the
big
time?
issue, especially with how much.
Don't take the job. Go to the next one.
Well, the issue is that you have to go interview, and then you're like, I would like this much money. It's like, we're willing to offer you a stupid amount lower than that. And then the amount of effort it takes to actually go and get a job where you have to go through 7 rounds of interviews, it could be an issue.
It can, but what we have is a lot of the time is people just being complacent. And so they say, oh, we can't afford this, we can't afford that. It's like, where do you work? Oh, McDonald's. Prime example.
I do think there is definitely though something to when people are like, oh, nobody wants to work anymore, and it's like, hey, you're selling your car for $5,000, give it to me for $20, and then when they say no, you're like, see, nobody wants to sell their car anymore. It's just, especially with how much the cost of living has gone up, and then you're already being lowballed so much on wages. It's of course you're going to have issues keeping positions full if people don't want to work for you because you're not paying them.
I think the issue is we have a society of complacency. People do not work on themselves to make themselves more marketable. People are more than willing and happy to work at McDonald's,
fast food jobs, or Starbucks,
right? Which is where all these people are complaining
they
from.
want to make $30 an hour working
Exactly.
at Starbucks. Yeah, sure.
Starbucks people, and all these other people. Fast food. No. I'm saying this is a problem.
Minimum wage.
I'm saying that this is a problem because those are the people that are complaining the most. People who are complaining who work at McDonald's are complaining the most that they can't buy a house or do normal things at working on. They can't live off of McDonald's wages. The thing that for
teenagers
60 years
that's
where it's like a teenager job, like a high school after high school, maybe a summer job before you want to normal shit like that. And now the society is wanting to change it where no, you should be expected to be able to do all those things like buy a house on any job. It's like no. I get $27 an hour. I work in a warehouse. I have skills. I know things. There's not much value. There's time that you need to take to get something up to my speed, right? I can sit down with a person and explain to them how to run a fucking fryer in less than 2 minutes. It literally is as automated as it can be in McDonald's without getting rid of the fucking people.
Yeah.
It's amazing. My sister works at McDonald's. California, she was at $16 an hour. This is what happens when government legislates wages. California passed a bill that said that all fast food establishments have to pay each of their employees at least $20 an hour. What happened? Companies immediately announced that they were either going to A, fire people, B, increase prices, or do a combination of both. And guess what happened? Just that. And so now we have the government who probably has all the right ideas in mind, the good intentions, but just has this stupid, fucked up idea of how the economy works. And then they fuck it up for hundreds of thousands of people, millions of people maybe, who are now out of a job because they decided to dip their hands where it shouldn't have been. People want to always complain when they always talk about the minimum wage, the minimum wage. Oh, the federal minimum wage is $7 and some change. Imagine if you worked an hour and then your boss comes in and lays a 5 and 2 ones on the table and says, "Good job, champ." Okay, my first question. Who is hiring for that much? Where? Oh, no one. You can't show me a single person. Oh, well, the Deep South. Oh, where it's objectively cheaper to live. Okay, cool. So it might actually equate out. Okay, second question. Who would take a job for that much? People are acting like governments or like companies are like holding them at gunpoint saying, sign your fucking contract so we can pay you this much. No, you have to physically agree to getting paid this much. That is why I do not give a single flying fuck when people complain about minimum wage. It's like, one, make yourself better, make yourself more marketable, get yourself some education, get up there. We already talked about a long time ago, the whole wage gap thing, right? Why is that? Because men are more likely to ask for a raise. Men are more likely to take risks. Men are more likely to stay longer and earn more money. We need to get back into the mentality of that everything that you are experiencing in this country is due to your actions. Right? You are responsible for how your life is going. And that's an objective reality.
Yeah, I think there's also an issue of people who just made horrible mistakes in what they decided to study in college, and now they've been kind of maybe taken advantage of by some colleges because like a lot of schools now, they're not looking at, who can be a good lawyer, who should we let into law school. They're just like, yeah, you're gonna fail, but give us your money.
Oh no, yeah, well, we're talking about affirmative action and stuff.
Bad decision.
Yeah, affirmative action stuff. Yeah, who says like, yeah, there's no way in hell that you're qualified to go to this college, but we're gonna take your money anyway, take the government's money, and then not be surprised that you failed when you're nowhere near the should be allowed in the school, and there was 1,500 other students.
Should be as pushed as it is.
I don't
because
think
there's so many other very necessary jobs in society that like aren't be a college professor for.
The worst thing that could happen to colleges was getting government funding. Government aid programs for colleges was the worst thing that could happen to colleges. Anytime the government says that we're going to give you money to do X, Y, and Z, those companies associated with X, Y, and Z immediately increase their prices. The moment that FAFSA first came around, a massive price increase happened on colleges across the nation. Why? Because they heard we have now a guaranteed paycheck from the FAFSA from the government. So therefore, we're going to increase our prices. So, originally this course would be $25,000. Okay, cool. Oh, wait, this person and people are getting qualified for $25,000 of aid from the government and they don't have to pay anything? Great. Now the new prices are $50,000 because to the student, it's just going to be $25,000 out of pocket. That's exactly how it works. And that is exactly what happened across the United States when FAFSA came around.
It's also the issue with healthcare right now. Anyway, it's been fun.
Yes, we need to head out here. Thank you all so much for joining us on episode 47 of the whole magazine. Do be sure to catch up on the shop. Don't forget, hey, code NUKE, NUKE, for 20% off of your order. If you have any lovely things, don't forget to send it to the socials. And as always, Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Well, it's been fun. I'll see you guys later. Online in Helldivers, hopefully.